Hello everybody, welcome to the last game of opening day, April 7th. Last two teams to not yet play the game, and it's the Seattle Mariners visiting the California Angels. There are the benches and bullpens for both teams. So what I'm going to do is, like I did in the Minnesota-Oakland game, just previous to this one, is I'm going to separate these so hopefully they will show up well or better on video than they would normally show up. So hopefully they will show up better now since they're split up. Don't have to pan quite as wide to show them, so hopefully that is going to work, but we shall see. Remains to be seen, as they say. So we've got Seattle at California. Pretty much standard dice, but close to California colors as I could get. Didn't want to do too much blue because that's in the Seattle colors, so I swapped out and did the red D6s and the blue D20. Starting pitchers for today's game for the Mariners, it is Mark Langston, 19-13 with a 3.84 ERA. And for California, Mike Witt, 16-14 with a 4.01 earned run average. And as usual, I have the game on the computer. It's going to score it as we play it. And when the game is over, I will pause the video, print the box score, and wrap things up. And we'll get ready for the April 8th games. Once we finish this, I got to pick one of the games to do as a video. The other ones I'm going to do offline. And we'll play those previous to the other video. And then when we get ready for that game on April 8th, I'll have all the score sheets for the games that were played previously. I'm looking probably at Texas and Baltimore on the April 8th game. I know April 9th we're looking at Chicago at Kansas City because that's Mark Gubaza. And just as a rib at ID Jester, his Gubaza. I figure I got to do Gubaza's first start. So on the 8th, it'll be Baltimore hosting Texas. And on the 9th, it'll be Chicago at Kansas City. Then we get to the 10th, the teams swap, different opponents, and we'll figure it all out at that point. I don't want to get too far ahead of myself. Ballpark effects. Singles are 1 to 5, and home runs are 1 to 12. That's both lefties and righties at Anaheim Stadium. Pitcher-catcher quotient. Mark Langston is a +1, but Dave Val is a -3, gives him a -2. Mike Witt is a -2. The catcher Weiniger is a +1 for a -1 quotient there. All right, I think we are ready to roll. Mike Witt finishing up the warm-up tosses. And Donnell Nixon, center fielder, will lead things off for the Mariners as the final game of opening day is now underway. 6-2 for Mike Witt against a righty is a fly to left. And that's one away. So one down, and it's going to send up Mike Kingery. He is the right fielder. Left-handed hitter. 1-5 for Kingery. It's a single to right field. So Mike Kingery gets the first hit of the game. The quotient again for California is a -1. So if Kingery gets the lead established, it'd be a 1 to 12, which is, sort of okay, but not great. Also, he gets caught stealing on a 9 through 12. So they're not going to send him. They will have to hold him because he's got the asterisk. So they will hold him, but he will not go anywhere. Not going to take a chance of getting caught stealing like that. 1, so chance of a wild pitch, and we'll check Mike Witt's wild pitch rating on the computer because the cards don't have it in 87. His wild pitch rating is a 5, his balk is a 0. So 1 to 5, we got a wild pitch. Whoops, let's make sure it goes through the tray. And it's a 2, so it will be a wild pitch on Mike Witt. He does uncork the wild pitch. That will move Kingery to second, takes the double play out of the equation. And now that brings up Phil Bradley. We get a 2-4 for Bradley. Ground ball to short with the A there. That's going to force Kingery to hold. As the shortstop Schofield throws him out. 2 down, and that's going to bring up the designated hitter Ken Phelps. Big power hitter. 1, so another chance of a wild pitch. 12, this time it is blocked. by Valley. I'm sorry, by Weiniger. So now we get to pitch to Phelps. 1-6 to Phelps. Struck him out, and that's going to end the inning. Nothing doing for the Mariners. We go to the bottom of the first. It is Seattle nothing, and California will be coming to bat. I think what I'm going to do going forward is move this, for the visitors, move the right hand, left hands over here so I can keep, use less space perhaps. We'll see. Might actually lower the font or do something so it fits a little better. It's a work in progress. So now Langston finishing up his warm-up tosses, and he will be facing Brian 10 Downing Street, the designated hitter. 5-8 to a right-hander, struck him out. Downing out on strikes, 1 away, and that's going to send up Wally Joyner, first baseman. 6-6 to a lefty-on-lefty matchup, and that's a strikeout. 2 strikeouts in a row for Langston, and that'll send up Doug DeSensei, third baseman. Twilight of his career. 2-6 against the lefty is a single to right field. 2-out single for Mr. DeSensei. He's not going to be held and not going to go anywhere. And here's George Hendrick, the right fielder. Nothing on the havoc. Mark Langston, just out of curiosity, his wild pitch and balk rating. It's a wild pitch of 7, balk of 3. So I might just put that above his name. 7, wild pitch, balk of 3. I should probably do that before the game starts. Witt is a wild pitch of 5, balk of 0. All right, so at least do it for the starters anyway. All right, so George Hendrick stepping to the plate. 4-6 right-handed, struck him out. So Langston strikes out the side around that single. And at the end of 1 from Anaheim Stadium, we have no score. Top of the second we go. And I want to make sure that I didn't mess anything up on here. I don't think I did. Looks like everything is still pretty copacetic. Make sure everything is still in view. Like I said, it appears to be. So, Alvin Davis will lead things off. 2-6 for Davis. He's going to ground to second. And that's 1 away. Here's the hound dog, Jim Presley. 2-9 for Presley. That's a grounder to short. Taken care of by Schofield. 2 up and 2 down. California won the real game 7-1. Here's Dave Valley, catcher. 5-9. Split chance. 1-4 is a single. That's a 10. So it will be a line out to shortstop to end the inning. So nothing doing for the M's. We go to the bottom of the second. Still no score. And up for the Angels will be Devon White. He'll be followed by Weiniger and Schofield. 4-9 to a switch hitter hitting right-handed is a 1-4 triple. That's an 11. It will be a leadoff double for Devon White. And the Angels may have something cooking. White will have to be held at second base. Here's Weiniger. 2-10 against the left-hander for Weiniger is a split chance. 1-17 is a single, but that's a 19. So it is a line out to shortstop. 1 away. And that will send up Dick Schofield. Nothing on the havoc. Schofield. 4-9 off of Langston. 1-4 is a triple. 10 is going to be a double. So it's another double. And it's an RBI double. The Angels take a 1-0 lead. Dick Schofield with the double. Here's Gary Pettis. Langston to Pettis. 4-7, switch hitter batting right-handed. 4-7, ground ball, second base X. And second baseman in this case is Harold Reynolds. Schofield was not being held at second, so Reynolds keeps his 2E21 quotient for defense. So 2E21 for Mr. Harold Reynolds. 2-1, though, is going to be a single 1 star, so that gets through for a base hit. E21, he's got to avoid 413 and 17. He does that, but he doesn't get to the ball. That evil D20 with that 1 causes a single. It's only 1 star, so Schofield stops at second base. Runners at the corners with only 1 out. And Pettis, definitely a threat to run. To get the lead, he needs a 5 or a 6. He does not get it, so he has to hold. And here's Mark McLemore, switch hitting second baseman. Angels trying to turn the, Mariners rather, trying to look for the double play. 4-8 against a right-hander is a strike. I'm sorry, 4-8 is a single to center field. 5-8 was a strikeout. 4-8 is a single to center, and that's going to score Schofield. We'll see if Pettis can go up further. He was being held, makes him a 16. Center fielder arm. Nixon is a +2, though. So that would be an 18. So 1-18. And I think they're going to have to let Pettis have it and keep McLemore at first. They don't want second and third. So it's going to turn basically into a single 2 stars. And the Angels lead it 2-0. McLemore looking to get a chance to steal as well. 4 through 6 to get the jump, get the lead. And he cannot get the lead, so he stands where he is. And here's Brian Downing. He will be held, though, obviously. So Brian Downing, the batter, struck out his first chance. Langston on the ropes, 5-9. That's a strikeout. He definitely needed that. 2 down. And now he can get out of things by getting Wally Joyner, but that's easier said than done. It is a clutch situation for Joyner. And Joyner does have a clutch hit right here at 3-7 against the lefties. So he could turn this into a clutch base hit with a 3-7. 2, though, is a chance for a balk or a pass ball. We're checking the balk rating of Langston, and his balk rating is a 3. So 1-3, and he will commit the balk to bring home a run. He does. It's a balk on Langston. Maybe McLemore might have, or Pettis dancing off a third might have disturbed him, and that's a balk. It's going to bring home a run and move McLemore to second base. So balk on Langston. It is now 3-0 California. Langston to Joyner now with McLemore at second and 2 outs. McLemore is going to be held because he runs very well. 4-6. That's a strikeout to end the inning. So it seems like Langston has to strike people out to get outs here. 5 of the 6 outs are strikeouts, but damage done. 3 runs for the Angels, and they lead it 3-0 as we go to the third. They just got to Langston real quick here. And now Mike Witt, the beneficiary of the run support. He'll be facing Quinones, Reynolds, and Nixon for the Mariners. 5-8, that is a strikeout. Strikeout number 2 for Mike Witt. And that'll bring up the switch hitting second baseman, Harold Reynolds. 1-9 for Reynolds is a single. Base hit for Harold Reynolds. He could be looking to get the lead here. Needs a 2 through 6 or a 9. You're down by 3, but you got to try to generate something. Your offense has been stagnant. You got to try to spark something. Nope, 7's not going to do it. So Reynolds will hold. And here's Donnell Nixon. 1-5. And that's a 1-5 home run, but that's a 9. It will be a double. Double for Donnell Nixon. The double is assumed to go to center field. Center fielder arm Pettis is a +1. Reynolds is 17. Being held makes him a 16, but the +1 takes it back to a 17. And what do? They're going to allow the run to score and keep Nixon at second base. They don't want to have to bring the infield in later. So it's an RBI double for Donnell Nixon. Lead is cut to 3-1. Nixon will be held at second base for Mike Kingery. One chance for a wild pitch again. And once again, Mike Witt's wild pitch rating is a 5. Not going to be a wild pitch. Here's Kingery. Runner at second being held. Whoops, Suadice. Let's re-roll that again. We get a 1-8, and that's a walk. So now runners at first and second. Now Mike Witt having issues. But the double play is now back in order, and here's Phil Bradley. 2, chance for a balk or a pass ball. But he has no balk rating, so we move on. Witt, 3-7, and that's a strikeout. Big strikeout there of Bradley. Third strikeout of the game for Witt. And that brings up the big DH, Ken Phelps. He can certainly do some damage. 3-3. Ballpark single check. It's a 1-5. That's a 4. It will be a single, but it's only 1 star, so now the bases are loaded. Bases are loaded. And now the baton has been passed to Alvin Davis. Solid hitter with some pop. 1 again. So Mike Witt, another. This D20 is coming up ones quite a bit. 1-5. It's a 1 again. How many times can a 1 show up? It's a wild pitch and the run will score. And that moves the runners up to second and third. That evil D20 looks like it's heavily weighted to a 1 because it keeps showing up. It's 3-2 game now. Davis still at the plate. Runners at second and third, 2 outs. Clutch situation. 2-6, and that is a ground ball to second to end the inning. But 2 runs come in for the Mariners. And we go to the bottom of the third. It is 3-2. So just when California thinks they got something going, they give 2 right back and keeps the Mariners in the game. Due up for the Angels will be Doug DeCinces. He will lead things off. 5-9 against the right-hander. He's going to strike him out. So boy, the strikeouts are piling up for Langston. That is strikeout number 6. Brings up George Hendrick. Struck out his first time. 3-8 against the left-hander is a ground ball to third. 2 down. And that will send us to Devon White. Four, 6. Switch hitter batting right is another strikeout. Strikeout number 7 for Mark Langston. And it's a 1-2-3 inning. And after the end of 3, it is California 3 and the Seattle Mariners 2 here at Anaheim Stadium. Looked like it might be a pitcher's duel after the first inning, but now all of a sudden things are happening and runs are scoring. So we finished our first block of 3 innings. So I'm going to stand up and stretch as per usual. Check the focus. Tabby is downstairs. I can't compete with the open window and the fresh air, so I'm not going to try to. She's on her perch looking out the window and happy as a clam, and I'm not going to bother her. So let's look through the thing here, make sure. It looks like everything is in view and in focus, so I'm going to leave it alone. And we'll drive on. Top of the 4th, Presley, the batter. Grounded to short his first time up. 4-7, and that's a ground ball second base X. That is McLemore. He's a 2E22 for McLemore. So as a 2, he just needs the D20 to be a 3 or higher, but it's been rolling a lot of 1s here lately. Not this time. 20 he will get as a G1. And he's an E22, so he has to avoid 12, 17, and 18. And he does. So it's a good play for McLemore as he throws out Presley. 1 away. And that will send us to Dave Valley. Death Valley. Line to short his first chance. 6-9, and he's going to single to left field. So single to left for Valley. Not much of a runner, so he will certainly hold. And that brings up Quinones, and they will not hold him on because he's not much of a runner. So now Quinones, the batter. 1 again. Chance for a wild pitch on a 1-5. Not this time. So Witt now will pitch to Quinones. That's a 2-5 for Quinones. Ground ball to third base A. It's a 5, 4, 3 around the horn double play. Just what the doctor ordered if you're Mike Witt, and that's going to end the inning. And we go to the bottom of the 4th. Still 3-2. Langston back out. You will be facing Butch Weiniger, Dick Schofield, and Gary Pettis. The last of the opening day games. It's been quite a run with these videos on opening day. I've enjoyed it immensely. Hopefully you have too. 5-10. Switch hitter batting right-handed. Fly ball center field X. Donnell Nixon is a 3E6. 3E6. And as a 3, he needs a 7 or higher to get to this. He does. And now the error reigns in E6. He's got to avoid 3, 4, 15, and 18. And he does. So Donnell Nixon tracks it down and retires Butch Weiniger. One away, and here comes Dick Schofield. He doubled and scored his first time. Hit an RBI double his first time up and then later scored. 4-2 for Langston. Ground ball shortstop X. That's Quinones. And Quinones is a 3E31. So we'll keep an eye on the 3 for the infielder, which means he needs a 5 or higher to get to this. And he does. It's G1. E31 at short. He's got to avoid 3, 4, 6, and then 15 through 18. 3, 4, 6, and then 15 through 18. That is a 13. Check it again. E31. There is no 13, so it's a good play on a tough hop for Quinones. And one shortstop retires the other. So Schofield is done, and here's Gary Pettis. Singled and scored himself. It's a 4-5 against a right-hander. Is another strikeout for Langston to end the inning. And he is racking up those strikeouts. For Langston, that is strikeout number 8 in just 4 innings. Plays on the trailing side of a 3-2 game, but it is anybody's ball game as we go to the 5th. Harold Reynolds will lead off for Seattle. He singled and scored his first time up. Scored on the Donnell Nixon double. Witt to Reynolds. 5-7 switch hitter batting left-handed. 5-7's a ground ball shortstop X. That's Schofield. He's a 2E12. And on a 2E12, he just needs a 3 or higher to get to this. And he does. And the E12 at shortstop, you have to avoid 3, 15, and 18. And he does. That is a 14, barely. So he barely avoids that. Plays the tough hop and throws Reynolds out as he was speeding down the first base line. 1 away. Order flips over to Donnell Nixon. He's 1 for 2 with a double. A run scored. And a run batted in. 3-3 against the right-hander is a line out to third base. That is snagged over there by DeSensei for out number 2. And that'll bring up Kingery. He is singled and walked. And he's went to second twice on wild pitches. Kind of unusual for that to happen. 5-10 to a lefty as a catcher X. That is Weiniger. He's a 4E2. But nobody's on base, so you can't have any pass balls or anything like that. They just want to make sure they don't give up an infield hit. And as a 4, he just has to not do a 1. That's all. Just have to avoid the 1. 20, it means it's a G2 ground out. And he is an E2. So the only error possibilities are 3, 17, and 18. And No problems there. It'll be a 2-3 ground out to retire Kingery and the Mariners here in the 5th inning. So we go to the bottom of the 5th, still 3-2. Had that explosion of runs in that little stretch, but since then it's kind of calmed down. And do it for the Mariners will be for the Angels will be McLemore, followed by Downing and Joyner. Mark McLemore. 4-5, switch hitter batting right-handed, is another strikeout. Unbelievable. That is strikeout number 9 for Mark Langston. And we're just in the early part of the 5th inning. Here's Downing. 1-7 against the lefty is a 1-15 double. That's a 17 though, so it will be a single for Brian Downing. He's not much of a threat to run. They won't even hold him. And Wally Joyner is your batter. Lefty on lefty matchup. He struck out twice. 5-7 to a left-hander. He's going to strike out again, so he's got the hat trick, all 3 strikeouts. That is strikeout number 10 for Mark Langston. Langston was strikeout number 10, and here is DeCinces. But again, he's on the losing end of a 3-2 score at the moment. 5-6 to a right-hander is yet another strikeout. That's strikeout number 11. In just 5 innings, he has struck out 11. And he's just looking for some more run support. Had that one bad inning in the second where everything happened. Other than the second, he's been in complete control. But that one bad inning could cost him. So we go to the top of the 6th. It will be Phil Bradley, Ken Phelps, and Alvin Davis in a 3-2 ball game. Witt, 6-6 to a righty, struck him out. Not tired. He has fatigue of 7, not 6. Plus, he hasn't given him anything anyway to be tired recently. So here's Ken Phelps. 1-7, and that's another strikeout. So, boy, the strikeouts are just piling up for both pitchers now. For Witt, that is strikeout 1, 2. Well, that's just number 5 for him, so not too many strikeouts. Here's Alvin Davis. 3-9, that's a single to left field. No strikeout there. Single for Alvin Davis. That is the 6th hit for the Mariners. Angels also have 6 hits. So Alvin Davis will not be held. He doesn't run well at all. And here is Dave. I'm sorry, not Dave Valley. Got him out of order here. It should be Presley. Don't want to bat out of order here. Presley, then Valley. Presley and then Valley. So it's Jim Presley, the Hound Dog. 3-6 to Presley is a walk. That's going to keep the inning going for Dave Valley. Now I got Quinones in the wrong spot. Let's get Valley up here. Why are you out of place, Mariners? Shouldn't be doing that. So now it's a clutch situation with the runner at second base. Tying run is in scoring position. Here's Witt. 2-7, ground ball to third. That's going to end the inning. Let's redo that. I typed that in the computer wrong. I got the out right, but I didn't do the fielding right. So let's do this again. Valley, grounded out. 5-3. Okay, there we go. Now we're straight. We're going to the bottom of the 6th. Langston will be facing Hendrick, White, and Weiniger. He's already struck out 11 in 5 innings. 1-3 to a lefty is a ballpark single check, which is a 1-5, but that's a 9. So I'm going to go ahead and keep the... No, it actually was a single that gets changed, so we're going to keep the line out to short. There is no out to assign it other than line out to short. So 1 out, and here is Devon White. 2-8 to a left-hander, or versus a left-hander, and that's a single for Devon White. Might be looking to run. get the lead. He needs a 3 through 6. And he gets the 5, so he gets the lead. He's an 18. Being held makes him a 16. -2 there is a 14. So a 1 to 14, and he will steal second base. And he's caught stealing. Caught stealing as Harold Reynolds puts on the tag. So Devon Witt, Langston telling Witt, crime doesn't pay. So with 2 outs and the base is clear, here's Weiniger. 2-4 to Weiniger, and that's a ballpark single check. That is, well, it's hard to tell what that is. Is that a 20 or is that a 7? Doesn't matter. Either way, the single's only a 5, so it's going to be, on the 2-4, it's going to be ground ball to short in the inning. So 6 innings are in the books. Still 3-2. And since, again, we're at the block of 3, going to stretch again, check the cards and focus and make sure everything fits. Make sure we're not missing anything. This is going to be Mike Witt's fatigue inning, so we need to be cognizant of that. Bottom part of the order, Quinones, Reynolds, and then Donnell Nixon. After that, looks like everything is still copacetic as best I can tell. So we'll drive on. Angel bullpen might start to see some activity. Looks like left-hander. Looks like left-hander Chuck Finley is in the bullpen, loosening for the Angels, just in case. So Witt to Quinones. Now we are in the 7th inning, so we can start pinch hitting if we desire. Quinones is a 276 hitter, though, so they're going to stick with him for now. 3-7 for Quinones, and he singles, so sticking with him paid off. Leadoff single. And that's 1 knock against the point of weakness for Mike Witt. Harold Reynolds is an excellent bunter, and he's going to be bunting. The corners are in, so he's a B bunter. B bunter, no wild pitch or anything to worry about. So a B bunter. So we'll bring out our super advanced bunt chart. He is a B bunter. The white die says he bunts it at the pitcher. So it's going to be bunted right at Mike Witt. He's a B bunter, so he really needs to avoid the 10, 11, and 12. But anything else should be pretty good. That's a 9, and that's a good sacrifice. So the sacrifice is going to go 1 to 4. As Macklemore covered first base for the charging Joyner. And the tying run is now in scoring position for Donnell Nixon. Quinones decent speed at second, but he's not going to be held. He's not a super fast runner. He's an average runner. A little bit better than average, but they're not going to hold him. They want to keep their range of their infielders to knock the ball down. Here's Witt to Nixon, 4-6, and that's a strikeout. There's a dot there, but he's not tired yet. So the strikeout is good for Mike Witt, and that is his strikeout number 6. And that's going to send up Mike Kingery in a clutch situation. Runner at second, 2 outs. Witt to Kingery. 6-9 to a lefty is a single to center field. This could tie the game. Center fielder Devon Witt center fielder Pettis is a +1 arm. So let's look at Quinones. He's a 13, was not being held, makes him a 14. There were 2 outs, makes him a 16, and then the +1 makes him a 17. If they throw through, Kingery could go to second base, but you hate to just give away the tying run. So they're going to throw for the plate and take their chances trying to get Quinones. They need an 18 or better to get him, and they don't. So it's going to be a single, RBI single to tie the game. Kingery will take second on the throw. So tie ball game. Tie ball game at 3 apiece. And now Witt right around the fatigue level. Bradley is your batter, so they're going to let him face Bradley, but if it gets to Phelps, they will be bringing in Chuck Finley. But they're going to let Mike Witt try to get out of this. He got into it. They're going to try to let him get out of it. facing Phil Bradley, who he's retired all 3 times. 2-11, and that's a ground ball to third, and he got out of it again. But that's going to be it for Mike Witt. They're going to cap Mike Witt right there. Can't lose it. He could win it if the Angels score a run this inning. But we are at the 7th inning stretch here in Anaheim with the score tied at 3. And Mark Langston is still good to go. His fatigue is the 8th inning, so no worries for him. For the Angels, in their bullpen, now that we've made it to the 8th inning, we'll be the top of the 8th when they come up. They're actually going to not use Finley. They're going to use Gary Lucas out of the pen. So Gary Lucas is loosening the pen for the Angels, and he would come in the top of the 8th. So we can close the book on Mike Witt, and I'll use the computer to help me get through that, to get the exact information without having to do any arithmetic. So Mike Witt, 7 innings pitched, 8 hits, 3 runs. They were all earned. Walked 2, struck out 6. Either he's going to get a no decision or he's going to get a win, depending on what happens here in the bottom of the 7th. I've done enough stretching every 3 innings, so I don't really need to stretch on the 7th inning stretch. So we're going to sally forth. Dick Schofield is your batter. You hate to lose his defense. He's a .251 hitter, so we're not taking him out. We're going to keep him in there. They don't have a whole lot on the bench from the right-hand side. Most of their best hitters are left-handed off the bench, so let's stick with Schofield. Whoops, Suadice. Let's re-roll that again. 1-8, and that's against the lefty. 1-8 is a 1-7 triple. That's an 8, though, so it's a fly to left field by Schofield. He just missed the triple by 1 number. 1 away, and here's Gary Pettis. Gary Pettis. 2-8 against the left-hander. Ground ball to third. 2 down. And that brings up the number 9 hitter, Mark McLemore. He's 1 for 2. 5-7. Right, switcher batting right is a ground ball to short with an X chance, and that is Quinones. He's a 3E31. 3 and the E31, so a 3. Obviously needs a 5 or higher. He gets that, no problem. E31 has to avoid a whole lot of numbers, 3, 4, 6, and then 15, 16, 17, 18. And that is a 17. He did not avoid the error. So Quinones on an E31 and a 17 is a 2-base error on Quinones. E6, 2-base error on Quinones, and that puts the go-ahead run at second base with 2 outs in a clutch situation for Brian Downing. Langston wasn't too happy about that, but that's what we got. Langston probably, 2 is a chance for a balk or a pass ball. That's a chance for a pass ball on Dave Valley. Check his pass ball rating on Dave Valley. And Valley's pass ball rating, to go to the computer for that, his pass ball rating is a 2. So he needs a 1 or a 2 to be a pass ball. It is not, so no pass ball there. So now here's Downing in a clutch situation against Langston. 1-5 to the lefty. 1-19 is a home run. It is gone. Brian Downing, a 2-run homer. It is unearned because of the E6, but it is a 2-run homer for Brian Downing. Let's look at it again. And now Mike Witt could still get the win. It's a 1-5 left-handed, and that's a 1-19 homer. That's a 12. So Brian Downing, the 2-run bomb, and the Angels take a 5-3 lead just that quickly. And Langston is in shock. They'll let him finish out the inning against Joyner. 2-2 against the lefty is a line out to second, but that's going to do it for Langston. He's going to go his 7 innings as well. So we go to the 8th. It is now California 5 and Seattle 3. And now with the lead, they're looking more to Donnie Moore, their closer, to possibly be involved. But they're going to start with Gary Lucas because you got the lefty Phelps coming up. Let's get the final tally on Langston as his day is done. He deserved a better fate, obviously. Defense let him down quite a bit. Langston 70 has pitched 8 hits, 5 runs, 3 were earned. Didn't walk anybody and struck out 11. Wow. Quite the performance there. But Gary Lucas is going to be coming on. Lucas in the 87 season was 1-5 with a 3.63 earned run average. So he will come on to relieve Mike Witt, who is in line to get the win if the Angels hold on to this lead without surrendering it. Lucas is on. And Lucas, like I said, 1-5 with a 3.63 ERA. He did have 3 saves. And he will be facing Phelps, but they might be calling Phelps back. Let's see, do they want to go to a righty off the bench or do they want to stay with Phelps? Actually, they're going to stick with Phelps. He does pretty well against lefties. He's got a loaded column too for sure. So they're going to leave Phelps in there to face Lucas. 3-12 for Phelps is a fly to center, and that's 1 away. That brings up Alvin Davis, yet another lefty. He's 1 for 3. 6-5 to the lefty is a fly ball to right field, 2 down. And that'll send up the hound dog, Jim Presley. 3-7 against a left-hander, struck him out. So Gary Lucas, a very fine 8th inning. They might let him come back and try to get the save. We'll have to wait and see how they want to play it. Like I said, Donnie Moore is there, and Seattle has to figure out what they want to do for a relief pitcher as well. As Langston's day is done, so Seattle will be going to their bullpen. And let's see who they might want to use to try to keep the score where it is. Possibly, looks like Ed Nunez might be the guy to go to. Let me check his numbers. Make sure he wasn't the closer. Nunez. Now he had 12 saves, so he's kind of like the closer, so I don't really want to go that route. But you don't want to bring in somebody awful either. That's the other part. Coming up for the Angels, it'll be DeCinces, Hendrick, and White, 2 righties and a switch. So they will go to eastbound and down Jerry Reed. Jerry Reed coming in for Langston. So we had Gary Lucas here. And now Jerry Reed. So Jerry Reed is the first bullpen arm used by the Mariners. And now that I've done a lot of maneuvering here, let me check everything again, make sure I didn't lose anything off from the video where I'm cutting anything off. Looks like I'm not cutting anything off, so it looks like it's still okay. Donnie Moore, unfortunately in 1987 for Donnie Moore, he didn't pitch enough to get it carded. Although I still think he was probably the closer. But he didn't have enough innings pitched to do anything as far as getting carded. Let's see what he was in real world. He did have 5 saves, so we're going to have Donnie Moore loosening in the bullpen, even though he's not carded. We're still going to have him loosening in the bullpen. He might be coming in to try to save the game for the Angels in the top of the ninth. We shall see. Right now, Doug DeSensei is facing Jerry Reed. Bottom of the eighth, 5-3 Angels. Reed, 3-6, and that is a 1-6 home run. That's a 2. Doug DeSensei just greeted Jerry Reed. He sent that ball eastbound and down, and that is gone. It is now a 6-3 ball game. Home run, Doug DeSensei greets Jerry Reed rather rudely. With a home run, it is now 6-3, and here's Hendrick. 1-9 for Hendrick is a walk. He will not be held, and here comes Devon Witt. In fact, we might get a pinch hitter for Hendrick and a better defender out there. Looks like maybe Rupert Jones might be coming into the game to take over in right field and run. Yep, that's what they're going to do. Hendrick is a 4 E10 and is being replaced by a 3 E12, Rupert Jones. He's also a runner of 12 and he gets replaced by a 13. So Rupert Jones will pinch run and stay in the game to play right field. And he is a 3-0 E12 and he runs at a 13. So Rupert Jones takes over in right field for the Angels. Takes over on the base paths, but he will take over in right field. He will not be held. He's not very good. Just because he's coming in to run a little bit faster than Hendrick, that's like saying he's faster than me. So it doesn't really mean anything. So on the computer, I will bring on Rupert Jones to pinch run for Hendrick, and Devon Witt is your batter. Jerry Reed off to a very rough start. Facing Devon Witt. 1-9 for Witt, and that's trouble again for a right-hander. 1-3 is a triple. That's a 7. It's a single 2 stars. And Jerry Reed has not gotten anybody out yet. He's having all kinds of issues. But in fairness to him, most of these results are coming off the batter card. So he hasn't had a whole lot of opportunity. He hasn't been in control of many at-bats. Which you could say is his fault too, but, you know, be realistic. 50-50, that can happen. Doesn't happen often, but it can happen. And now that brings up Weiniger with runners at the corners. The infield is going to have to come in. They have no choice. They're already down 3. They can't give up any more, or don't want to give up any more. Reed to Weiniger. 1-6 is a walk, and that's going to load the bases. And I think Jerry Reed might have to leave this game. He just does not seem to have it. So Jerry Reed is going to be lifted. And whoever comes in for the Mariners is going to catch not a good situation to bases loaded and nobody out. Boy, who do you go to here? They do have... Well, you think they want a right-hander because you got Schofield and 2 switchers after Schofield. Wow. Dick Williams has to really think about this one. So let's see who's in the relief corps. Nunez is your closer. You really hate to go to Nunez on the loo when you're losing. So they're going to bring in Mark Huseman. He's not very good, but like I said, you don't want to use your closer. That's kind of something you don't really want to do. Huseman's 2-3 with a 5.04 ERA and 2 saves. So Mark Huseman and Jerry Reed couldn't get anybody out. He just had a really, really bad game. And he's given up 2 hits. He's walked 2. Given up 1 run, but he's responsible for all 3 that are on base. So now, once again, the infield is in. They can't afford to give up any runs, period. So the infield is going to have to come in. Huseman will try to be Houdini, if at all possible. That's a 3-7 for Schofield. It's a strikeout. That's a good start. So Huseman strikes out Schofield, and Gary Jerry Reed is saying, have you left me in? I'd have got the strikeout there too, but he didn't do it. But you never know how the roll would have went had I left him in and not done all these other things. The roll might have been very much different, so you never know. Now here's Gary Pettis. You have to play the infield in because doubling up Gary Pettis is not a good proposition. So Huseman will pitch to Pettis with the infield still in. 6-10 against the switch hitter batting left-handed is a fly ball center field X. Nixon is a 3, E6, so if it doesn't drop, it might at least be a sacrifice fly. So a 3, in order to not be a sacrifice fly, he's going to have to get a 17 or higher. That's going to be awful tough to do. That's a 4. It actually is going to drop in for a single 2 stars, so that's even worse. That's a 2-run single, and he's an E6, and he's trying to avoid 3, 4, 15, and 18. And he does that, but it's a single 2 stars for Gary Pettis, and that has just blown this game wide open. It is now 8-3. Those runs are charged to Reed. You can close the book on... No, you can't because Weinerger's at third, so you can't really close the book on Reed. He could give up a 4th run. But a 2-run single for Devon Witt is now 8-3, and Huseman's just going to have to take it for the team the rest of the time. They're not bringing anybody else. Runners at the corners. McLemore has a few A chances, so they'll play back for the double play. At this point, it doesn't really matter. 5-4 switch. Well, look at that. He's got weak power, though. 1-14 is a homer. That's a 1. It won't be a homer. It'll be a single 2 stars because McLemore has weak power. And now you can close the book on Reed because he gives up 4 runs, all earned. And it is now a Dolly part. Well, not a Dolly part. It's 9-3. It's not 9-5. It's 9-3. And Brian Downing is your batter. But it would have been a 3-run homer had he had the power. It is 9-3, and that brings up Downing. They're looking to turn a double play here if they can get out of this mess. 2, chance for a balk or a pass ball. Chance for a balk. Huseman, his balk rating is 0, so no balk there. 5-7, and that's a ground ball shortstop X. That is Quinones. He's a 3E31. They could certainly use a double play. 331. 3-18 is a G1, so if there's no error, there will be a double play. E31, he's got to avoid 3, 4, 6, and then a 15 through 18. And he does, so it's a double play, 6-4-3 to finally get him out of the inning, mercifully. To end the inning, but for the Angels, they put 4 runs on the board and take a commanding 9-3 lead as we go to the 9th. Huseman goes 1 inning, gives up 2 hits, no runs, and gets a strikeout, no walks. But Langston will take the loss. Witt will take the win. We could keep Lucas in there for a cheap save if we want to, because he did come in a save situation. It was only 5-3 when he entered the game. So he would qualify for the save. So I think we're going to leave Lucas in there to let him see if he can get the save. He's going to be facing Valley, Quinones, and Reynolds for the Mariners. And the new right fielder is Rupert Jones, as he came in a pinch run for Hendrick. So Rupert Jones is the new right fielder. Here's Dave Valley against Lucas. 5-8 to a right-hander is a strikeout. Got the dot, but he's not tired. He hasn't given up anything. So he gets the strikeout. That brings up Quinones, and there's really nothing on the bench, hardly. Maybe Mickey Brantley. Maybe give him an at-bat, perhaps. Yeah, they're going to give Mickey Brantley an at-bat just for the heck of it. In place of Quinones, who was 1 for 3, they're going to go ahead and let Mickey Brantley have a swipe at it, just for general purpose. So Mickey Brantley will hit for Quinones, just to get him in at bat. Could do that also for Reynolds, but we'll see. So Brantley hitting for Quinones. 302 hitter is Brantley. Lucas 210 for Brantley, and that's a split chance. 1-3 is a single, but that's a 17, so he lines it to short. And that was Mickey Brantley. Now do they pinch hit for Reynolds? Might as well. At this point, what difference does it make? As some politician once said. So Harold Reynolds will be called back. And they will get another right-handed pinch hitter. And it's going to be Domingo Ramos. He hit 311. So Domingo Ramos will pinch hit for... actually, Brantley should have been up here. So well, it doesn't really matter at this point. It's irrelevant. And 9-3 game. We just want to get the game over with. So they're going to let Ramos hit. Dick Williams just getting some guys an extra at bat. 4-7 to a righty is a 1-5 single. That's an 11. He lines it to short. And Gary Lucas pitches 2 perfect innings and gets the save. Strikes out 2, didn't walk anybody. And there is your ball game. What was a close game got out of hand near the end. 9-3 the final. For the Mariners, 3 runs on 8 hits and 1 error. For the Angels, 9 runs, 12 hits, and no errors. And this one, it's such a bad game, I don't really see any point in printing out the box score, to be honest with you. I'm just going to save the paper because I'm cheap. So I don't think there's nothing to see here, as they say. So we're just going to sally forth. Left on base, Mariners 6, Angels 4. Player of the game, could give it to a lot of guys. Witt did go 7 innings, give up just the 3 runs. That's okay, not wonderful. Devon White was 3 for 4, scoring 2 runs. There's a lot of guys you could give it to. I'm tempted to give it to Brian Downing. He was 2 for 5, but that 2-run homer in the 7th, when it was 3-2, his 2-run homer made it 5-3 and really kind of put the kibosh on everything. So I'm giving the player of the game to Brian Downing. He is my player of the game. So that's going to do it from here. Like I said, I'm not going to bother with the printout. So we've completed April 6th, and now we completed April 7th because there were only 2 games on April the 7th. We're going to April the 8th. Every team has now played 1 game. They're in the books to have 1 game already played. So on April 8th, we're going to go back from the West Coast now to the East Coast. We're going to Memorial Stadium in Baltimore to be the Texas Rangers and the Baltimore Orioles. That will be your matchup. I believe it's Ed Correa for the Texas Rangers and Scott McGregor for the Baltimore Orioles. That will be the game on video. The other games I'll play offline before that and show you the box scores and everything from that game. And I do have a big 3-ring binder that I'm using to keep all the box scores and whatnot. So that way I keep these things together, and because it's a lot of box scores, obviously. So a lot of score sheets. I mean, not box scores, but score sheets. So that's what I'm trying to do there. Donnie Moore never got in for a chance for a save because the Mariners allowed the Angels to go wild for 4 runs in the 8th inning. I feel bad for Jerry Reed. He had a tough time. Faced 4 batters, gave up 4 runs, couldn't get anybody out. Home run, single, and 2 walks, and he just, But Langston ended up taking the loss in a tough way because of that error on Quinones with 2 outs in the bottom of the 7th of a 3-2 game. His error opened the door, and Downing crashed through that door with a 2-run homer. That's why he got the player of the game. So I hope you enjoyed that presentation of Strat-O-Matic Super Advanced 1987 style. And next game on the video for this project will be Texas at Baltimore. So until then, Enjoy playing whatever game you choose to play, however you choose to play it, and I will see you all down the road.